What's going on, Lex? And you are now tuned in to Blackout Radio with the Dunn Boyz on 93.9 WLXU, Lexington Community Radio. It's Corey, the king of controversy. Me, Brendan Dunn, the mayor. Before we get into anything, I'd like to give a loud shout out to the Lexington Ravens. Lexington Ravens was the CKYFL champions last year, and they came over to Park and Rec. And then the Constitution Falcons, they was the Park and Rec champions of the year. But for some reason, they kept on ducking the Ravens and never wanted to play. And I don't understand it because the head coach of the program was a baller. He was a high school standout, ended up going to Louisville where he's a DB standout. I think he might have played a little pro football. I know he played semi-pro football, but he was a baller. He never ran from anything. But for whatever reason, this man was scared to go heads up against the Lexington Ravens. The Lexington Ravens caught up with them because they are now in the Park and Rec League. And I mean, I was on front line, was able to watch the game, front row seats. The 8U program came out and smacked the Constitution Falcons 40-6. 10U program smacked the Constitution Falcons 33-6, and the 12U, they had to play the Broncos, and it was a shutout game, and they won 37-0. We are going to be covering Park and Rec games. That's Blackout Radio. We'll be covering the top Park and Rec games this year. So if you have any games or highlights that you would like to share, give us a shout at blackoutradio859@gmail.com. That's blackoutradio859@gmail.com. I also like to give a shout out to the Douglas Dolphins. They've been running it too. You know, Lil DDT, you know, Quincy Murphy, they've been running their mouth. Man, this is football season. So I know they wasn't even, I don't think, a Park and Rec team. So they're an expansion team. So I've never heard of an expansion team being good. But they stressing that their team is going to be good. So let's give a shout out to the Douglas Dolphins. You know, my people's out there. Boss Boom, he's got a son named Mello. You know, shout out to the big homie Boss Boom. His son's good in basketball, good in football. But once again, they playing on an expansion team. You know, Dennis Johnson's son, he's on the team. Jasper, he's a nice baller too. Football, basketball. However, he's on an expansion team. And you have Jasper, you have Mello, they nice. Can't take nothing away from any of these individuals. However, they don't have Man. They don't have TJ. They don't have King. They don't have Doree. They don't have Bruh. They don't have E Dunn. They don't have Jizzy. They don't have Big J. And they don't have Landis. So that means they're going to get smacked. So you heard it here first. The Lexington Ravens are going to take the lead. Park and Rec, 10U, 8U, and 12U. Shout out to my people over at the Bengals. Pete, he's always running it, so he's on the hit list too. Eric Daniels and the Titans. Eric Daniels play for UK, but he never runs it. I cannot trust a guy that don't trash talk, don't run his mouth, so he's on the hit list for not talking enough. My people Jones, hey, we coached together last year. Me and bro, we coached out with Jones. Jones is a good dude. My son will be playing with him over at the Panthers. But he made a commitment to play with the Lexington Ravens. A good dude, can't say nothing about him, but Brandon Hicks, he my dude, he my people. But he been running his mouth. Every time I see Brandon, he's running his mouth, talked about what his son's gonna do. So, Coach Jones, thank Brandon Hicks for putting y'all on the hit list. Y'all gonna get smacked too. This is Blackout Radio. We are gonna be covering Park and Rec football games this year. So either go hard or go home. Do not end up getting smashed 40-6. Shout out to my people's Lil Machine Gun Mari. He ran off on the plug every quarter, running touchdowns on him. Shout out to Lil Green, and shout out to my little homie Man 8U. They ran off on the plug, smashed the Constitution Falcons. Man, it was a sad case. So if you don't come hard, you will get stomped out this year, one way or another. And this is Blackout Radio. We do not hold it back. I understand it's all about the kids. That's what they say. But, hey, that's what losers say. We teach our children to be winners. And when you have the coaches and the parents, and it's all about the kids, you know, it's all about fun. Those are the people that normally get smacked, don't have a team, and they suck. Now, and I do love and say it's all about the kids. However, this is Blackout Radio. We're going to tell it like it is. we in it to win it, and we playing with a chip on our shoulders. Shout out to the Lex Ravens. Shout out to the Dolphins, the Bengals, the Titans, the Panthers, the Broncos, Constitution Falcons, and every other team in the Park and Rec Football League. Now, let's get back to the show today.
Before we get to that, man, any of these shows, any of these teams that you're talking about, do they got student athletes? That's what I want to know.
Hey, man, you cannot be an athlete without being a student. So education and academics is, of course, first. If you do not get your grades on our team, you'll be sitting on the sideline. Matter of fact, you're going to be sitting on the sideline without a jersey on. You cannot be affiliated with our sports program if you are not serious about academics.
That's what's up. I talked to my brother Keith. Keith told me he was on the show a couple weeks ago. His girls cheer for the Dolphins. He told me that their coaches. No, this is what he told me though. Shout out to Brian and Jamea. I'm like, hey,
shout out to the peoples.
Yeah, most definitely. Shout out to my girls. Love them to death. But he said that they actually checking grades. They got permission to go in the school system and check all these players' grades. So that's what I think. It's not just about sports. It's about using sports to, one, teach discipline, and two, to ensure that those children are focusing on academics as well as athletics. Because academics are gonna get you a lot further. They gonna last a lot longer than your athletic ability will carry you. Even though you can make millions as an athlete, a lot of those athletes don't have sense. God gave a dead duck. So once they have a fortune, they squander it because they don't know what to do with it because they haven't been educated properly. So I'd like to give a shout out to that ball team or those coaching staff or whatever for at least focusing on academics as well as the athletics.
Hey, that's peace. Now back to it. Today's show.